A typical vegetarian diet consists of nothing more than grains, vegetables and fruits, spiced nut drinks, oilseed medicinal materials, textiles, and other major categories. But there is a kind of plant. It does not belong to any of the above categories. However, just like serving any of the above purposes, it is the soybean, a representative of legumes. This is a tree, this is a mouse. This is still a mouse. Through the sound of this mouse, by referring to the previous videos, we can see soybeans are native to China. The Jiahu site dates back 8,000 years. Traces of a large wild cave were discovered. Wild soybeans are very likely the ancestors of cultivated soybeans. Cultivated soybeans dating back 4,000 years. It's almost indistinguishable from soybeans today. Why do people eat soybeans? It's actually very simple. The family river family has spikes composed of grass seeds. The fruit of the legume family is called a bean pod. It will become dry after it matures. It can be divided into two pieces along the suture line and the double suture line. This fruit is called a false fruit, common fake fruit. It's mostly bean shells. For example, we saw some shrubs in some green belts. Oops, I accidentally smashed a bunch of bean sprouts. This is actually the bauhinia flour made from rice grains. These salty and flavorful soybean shells are eaten by people. Perfect. Unripe bean pods can be cooked and eaten directly. It tastes great. It has a lot of hair on it, so it's called edamame. But youth is always fleeting. Green soybeans are not easy to store. Mature soybeans have a beany smell. This is due to the lipoxygenase in soybeans. Furthermore, eating too many soybeans can cause bloating and flatulence. To have delicious rice and millet to eat. Who would want to eat the bean rice of the village resident of Xiangya? Soybean cultivation ratio during the reign of Emperor Wu of Han. It has been squeezed down to 8. And the regrettable path of soybeans as a food source? It has even come to an end. Once we look at it from a microscopic perspective, you will find soybeans contain an abnormally high amount of a certain type of substance. That is protein. We know that matter is often composed of molecules. Molecules are composed of atoms. Sugars are composed of carbon and hydrogen. Oxygen, 3 types of atoms composition. Therefore, it consists of water and carbon dioxide. Laser-induced series of reactions produce sugars. Perfect. However, proteins contain an extra element. But you can't just rely on nuclear fusion to extract the elements, can you? Using Jinkle to absorb phosphorus and potassium from depths of 2 meters or less. No additional fertilizer was applied. Elements that are included are considered quite precious. However, the roots of beans can be combined with root gold. Many tumors grew. Different places have different characters for Earth. The Colombian Army, which incorporates soybeans, is different. The content of the character Fufu, meaning good fortune, is relatively high in the black soil region of northeast China. Soybeans and soybean Manching Lingjin. Symbiotic relationship with Liaoning, Manching Zhejiang. The climate in North China is slightly dry. The soil is slightly alkaline. Most of them aggregated and sold themselves on time and fled. Or perhaps the dead China and the surging army coexist. Xinjiang is mostly arid desert climate. Most of them are from Xinjiang Yankingan Army. He and Zhuman Xingqinshin coexisted with Lu Jun. Grymocarpus can absorb nitrogen from the air, reduced to ammonia. Ammonia gas, such as in electrical adhesives, becomes ammonia solution. When I was in production, fertilizer is applied directly to ammonia water, with nitrogen fixation capability. This allows soybeans to synthesize protein almost freely. This resulted in his protein content being as high as 36. High protein content is a characteristic of meat, eggs, and dairy products, isn't it? From this perspective, we also cannot decide from the plant's perspective. Uses of soybeans. Soak the beans in water. Placed in the millstone that was originally used for grinding flour. Grind into a slurry. Use cheesecloth to filter out the residue. The residue is the infamous tofu dregs of building materials. This ginger water, made from ground beans. It also has a beany smell. The taste is significantly better after heating and boiling. This is the famous soy milk. It already appeared when I was sweating a lot. So what about shared chests? It is highly likely that they also drank soy milk. Soybeans thus gained a second identity beverage, and it remains popular to this day. I learned in high school chemistry that soy milk is a colloid. I learned this in high school biology. Proteins coagulate when they come into contact with salt. Add salt or acid to soy milk. They will condense together. If you add salt to the tofu, subsequent byproducts, that is brine. The main components are magnesium chloride and calcium chloride. After the soy milk coagulates, press the crop into a mold to remove moisture. Soy milk has become a kind of foods that foreigners love to eat in their videos. Chinese tofu is so delicious. To be precise, this type of tofu is made with brine, also called northern tofu. If gypsum is added to tofu, it will also turn into tofu. Higher water content. It tastes even more tender, also known as southern tofu. If we add gypsum to soy milk, no need to simulate squeezing out water. It's tofu pudding. It is said to come in both sweet and savory flavors. If it could be left out a little longer than tofu pudding, it will solidify into a tofu-like consistency similar to steamed egg custard. In Japan, there's a type of soy milk that adds glucose. How to make sour seeds. Artwork type tofu. This type of tofu is called nizi tofu. How much moisture does it have? There are even more. Moisture makes fresh tofu smooth and delicious. However, it is not easy to preserve the beginning of the month. If you cut the tofu into slices and then press it, it becomes very sturdy and not easily broken. It turned into dried tofu. If we are making tofu, use a whole sheet of cloth. Separate them when adding the tofu pudding. It will then turn into many thin slices, commonly known as thousand sheets. It's also called tripe, as for beef tripe. Pure type just looks like tofu skin. When we cook porridge, a sticky film will form on the surface of the porridge. During the cooking of porridge, protein denaturation occurs. In addition to increased fat concentration, it will also form a thin film. Pick out this membrane and dry it. That's oil. The terminology for peeling is too confusing. Just remember the shape. The store often has this kind of material. If you roll up this oil-filled package and then dry it, that becomes the dried bean curd sticks we commonly see. I made too much tofu and didn't have time to finish it. The surface is sticky. It smells terrible. Don't rush to throw it away. Add some salt, chili peppers, and sesame oil, and it becomes stinky tofu. Wait a minute. Why does your stinky tofu look different from the original? This stinky tofu isn't Coca-Cola. It tastes the same all over the country. Like stinky tofu from Dajiang. It was placed in the coal county. It takes a while to become smelly after soaking. I'll steam the stinky tofu before I get a fever. Yes, there are. After fermentation, steam it in a pot. Some of them need to be deep fried. You often see changsha stinky tofu on the streets. Huh? It is black. Making stinky tofu turn black isn't difficult. Use some ferrous sulfate and tea water. It can be dyed black. Stinky tofu is delicious. However, the decomposition by various microorganisms is just too fast. If it wasn't smashed, poor time management, it really breaks very easily. Although it's easy to eat with rice. But I went down quickly too. Can we save some money? Save a little more money. How to solve this problem? Let's add some ingredients to the tofu. Turn it into fermented bean curd. Hey, here it comes. Introduce mucor or rhizopus mold into tofu blocks. Ferment for 70 hours first. Remove the surface mycelium and place it in a jar. Pour in Shaoxing wine, spices and other ingredients as soup base. Fermentation in a sealed container takes 16 months. The white fermented bean curd is now ready. When making fermented bean curd, add red yeast rice, as an emulsion. It became the most common type of red fermented bean curd. If we are in the forum, it's a low-concentration saline solution. Then add the juice that seeped out during the fermentation of fermented bean curd. It is called pickled when the original broth of ma'awalu is dissolved in salt. That's where the fermented bean curd smell is the strongest. Let's do it. Some students may be curious. What is koji fermented rice wine? Is it used for processing mayo-te flavor liquor? You'll understand when you see the rest. Making tofu from soybeans requires a fermentation process. But from a chemical perspective, isn't it just cooked beans? Steam the beans directly. It can also be made into fermented products such as fermented black beans. If the temperature is high where you are, aspergillus can be inoculated. Fermentation can be completed in the range of 2,835 degrees Celsius. If it's winter, you can use mucor mold. Fermentation only requires 510 degrees Celsius. Soybeans will take about 3 days. It will be covered with mycelium. Wash away the mycelium. It can prevent excessive breakdown of soybeans. Different seasonings can be added depending on the taste. Most fermented black beans are salty. Beef and mutton fermented black beans without salt. Mild flavor. Ferment under sealed conditions for another 37 days. Okay, the fermented black beans are done. There's also a hidden version of fermented black beans. Do I need to boil the fermented black beans first? Wrap it in straw. What about 3 to 4 days later? He will then be under the action of Bacillus subtilis. It turns into a sticky, stringy consistency. Bacterial fermented black beans. Because of its high water content, it is also called water toothsugar. This practice also exists in Shandong and Yuguishan, among other places. Japanese natto, huh? It's very likely that it happened during the making of fermented black beans. The result of accidentally making bacterial fermented black beans. Although fermented black beans are delicious, but its main body is made up of granules. It can never be mixed with other foods. And the fermented black beans went down way too fast. Many students have commented that eating fermented black beans this way is too wasteful. It's so shameful. Can we save some money? Save a little more money. We only need to cook the soybeans. On the mainland, coat evenly with a layer of steamed flour. Let undergraduate and legumes science join forces. Inoculate with seed culture again. Oh, this piece of music. To put it simply, it's a fungal culture machine. Generally, it is used, made from fresh rice flour or bean curd. What about us ordinary people? Fermentation of buns in the air. Various microorganisms can easily appear. The phenomenon of sheep bone fighting. I forgot about it because of a bet. You can easily take yourself away. With the total amount of soybeans fully fermented. Then put it in a jar and add salt and water. Oh, and we've put watermelons in again. You can add some chili if you like it spicy. Ferment in a sealed container for a period of time. He became soybean paste. Soybean paste appeared during the most dry seasons. What about the ancients? This is a very important food. With this, you'll never have to get human blood on your steamed buns again. Seasonings were extremely scarce in ancient times. Besides salt, the only other thing I can rely on is soy milk to make rice more palatable. So, hair-race the question. Some beans and some salt. Why does it have a special flavor when made into bean paste? What exactly does this flavor mean? The key lies in protein. Protein. It is formed by the folding of amino acids. Microorganisms want to digest proteins. It will first break down proteins into amino acids. Human taste organs. It can detect the presence of amino acids. The direct manifestation of this feeling is saltiness. Regardless of whether it's fermented black beans, soy milk, stinky tofu, seafood, or mushroom soup. Why does it make people feel very appetized? The reason for being very relaxed. It's because of amino acids. Well, make some stir fries that aren't too strong in flavor. There were also cold dishes. Add some soybean paste. That's a bit of a killjoy. We just need to repeat the step of coating the dough with soy milk. Give him this Aspergillus oryzae and lactic acid bacteria, because Aspergillus oryzae is an aerobic bacterium. Therefore, the soybeans need to be placed in large vats at the mouth of the Yangtze River. And then the big vat? Place it outdoors in a well-ventilated area to dry for 180 days. Squeeze out the sauce and heat it up. It becomes soy sauce. Making soy sauce involves a bit of outdoor work. The water tank was not kept completely sealed. Therefore, it is easy for some camps to emerge. I'll also throw in some mice and geckos as a bonus. Chairman Mao was deeply impressed by this scene. So he himself doesn't eat soy sauce. Indonesia, huh? There is also a type of fermented food made from soybeans. Danbei AI. It is after steaming the soybeans and removing the outer skin. Wrap in banana leaves. Then, use various fundamental fermentation methods for short-term fermentation. Then press it into blocks and preserve the pastry. The method of making it sounds similar to that of common fermented black beans. But it's not used as a sauce. It is a staple food. You need to eat 200 grams a day. In China, soybeans have long been a staple food. But what happens to soybeans after they become a staple food? Another use was quickly developed. That is oil extraction. After heating the soybeans, the oil is extracted directly using force. The residue that comes out after pressing is soybean cake. It has a fairly high protein content. Not only can it be used for composting, it can also be used to feed chickens and horses and to bait fishing spots. When I was little, I went with my father to press oil. I'll also eat some myself. It's actually kind of delicious when it's heated up. Because the beans are cooked, it can easily burst open like a KFC head. Although the beans were used to extract oil. But after cooking, I thought about opening the bean sprouts. Some beans will remain on the ground and sprout. Soybeans have also become a type of vegetable. Change the water for the soybeans daily. 1 pound of soybeans can yield 10 pounds of bean sprouts. It can be called a soybean amplifier. When it comes to making bean sprouts, I think the quality of soybeans is comparable to that of mung beans. We still need to step back. What is the origin of mung beans? There are many conflicting opinions. Sometimes they come from Myanmar and India. Some people also say that it is distributed in Yunnan. Anyway, it's all one continent. It's not difficult to spread. The poem Lisa says that this road is like a path to victory. Betrayal, poison, alienation, and incompatibility. Hey, this road might be made of mung beans. The ancients did not originally grow mung beans for food. It's because mung bean plants are short. Will you still use it alone? And wheat was turned over to turn the mung beans into the soil in turn. It can make the land more fertile. When I was a child, my impression of mung beans is that they are more expensive and taste better. He has a part that is dark, straight, and long. Hey, I told you it was his bean curd. The mung beans weren't ripe yet. You can eat beans without cooking them. It tastes great. The mung bean sprouts that have been soaked in water have a very mild bean smell. It tastes good even without a lot of seasoning. Mung bean paste made from mung beans is refreshing and helps to relieve summer heat. I drank tons of it when I was in school. After making vermicelli from the starch in mung beans, the juice from the top and bottom can still ferment. Make the world's most delicious drink, soy milk. It really does taste better than coffee. Although from the name, mung beans and soybeans, also known as yellow beans, are corresponding species. But mung beans and soybeans are not the same thing. Green beans are cowpea mice. It has a very famous relative, the red bean. This is what we in the food industry often refer to as red beans. Its main function is gynecological care. The last sentence appears to be unrelated and possibly a fragment from another context. It can be made into red bean paste or cooked into porridge. Also need to make red beans. The beans should be longer. It is a famous medicinal herb, representative of the Soybean Institute. It should be the soybean that provides the name. This bean, it's actually what we commonly call green beans. Its origin is West Africa or East Africa. They entered Asia more than 2,000 years ago. Hey, if you've ever grown vegetables before, In terms of difficulty and commonality, green beans. These can all be considered the first batch of food that vegetable growers would refuse. Planted green beans. You can eat the whole green bean. Besides being used in stir-fries or blanched vegetables, it can also be eaten. The green beans are old and have turned white. You can also coat it in flour and steam it before eating. Even the bean husks of these kinds of bean pods are edible. It is generally used as a vegetable. In my family, there's only one kind of autumn. Another type of beans hell vegetable that is not commonly found in the market. Purple hyacinth bean is also called moldy bean. This ingredient, it left a deep impression on my classmates. His vitality is simply greater than Rasputin's. Wangxing doesn't need to worry about anything. They live in the yard and can climb everywhere. Extremely large. The purple flowers that bloomed were very beautiful. The small folded blade at the bottom of the bean pods is also straight and angled. I think it tastes best when steamed and mixed with some garlic. However, if you stir-fry them directly, you'll find that the bean curd is too hard. Perhaps that's why he's not very common. Another type often used for eating bean curd sandwiches. It's snow peas. It is also called Dutch pea in China. In some foreign regions, it is called Chinese bean. Actually, its place of origin is in the Luhai area, Central Asia. In essence, it is a special type of pea that is specifically eaten as a string bean. Sichuan and other places, they would pick the pea shoots and cook them. It is said that pea shoots. His status in Sichuan was second only to Xiangyu. Some peas are used to prick the peas. Peas with a higher starch content are called high-quality peas. What about the various processed bean snacks we eat? Many of them are made with chilled peas. Peas can be ground into powder to make pea flour. Pea flour cake, a traditional Beijing delicacy. It's made from pea flour. In our area, there is a type of food called high-temperature food. The filling is delicious when cooked at room temperature. The smooth, warm texture. It's still different from other fans. When I was little, I really wanted to eat, but it's too expensive. I can't afford it. After growing up, through my hard work, finally, the New Year's money was raised. It's frustrating that it's hard to buy now. Chickpeas are also found in the Mediterranean region. There's a bump on the bean that looks like a bird's head. It's not well known in most parts of China, but Southern Europe, Middle East, foods from South Asia and Xinjiang are very common there. High fiber and high protein. Can cook salads directly. What about the Middle East? They grind chickpeas into powder and make them into gourd flutes. Burmese tofu and Burmese fried tofu puffs. It is also made from pea and chickpea flour. In Southwestern Asia and North Africa, there is also a type of legume. Common. That's broad beans. Also called broad bean. You can tell from the sound that it's from over 2,000 years ago. Zhang Qian brings you carefully selected products. Its embroidery history dates back more than 8,000 years. We can find it in the supermarket. Easily create various fried foods coated with pepper. Chili broad beans. Actually, our most classic Dajiang fermented broad bean paste is. The large lumps inside are also broad beans. Soybeans are small. It's actually harder to find a complete Dubon page now. Broad beans are often used as a side dish for chives. But it's not suitable for everyone. Some people lack a type of glucose 6-phospholipid hydrogenase. Ingesting fava beans can cause hemolytic anemia. Yellow litharge appeared. Symptoms such as urinary incontinence. In Guangxi, 15% of the population is deficient in this enzyme. So, friends from Guangxi, before eating, you need to determine if you are deficient in this enzyme. Also, infants and young children should avoid eating broad beans. For an adult like me, it's no problem. Oh, when I was fighting, I like to pair it with some broad beans and the bases cigarettes and alcohol. Some common beans. It's toxic to everyone. Often, one can anticipate the students in a class. That's green beans. These coarse beans. This can be said to be global. One of the most common vegetable beans. Different regions. Many interesting variants have also been bred. Let their beans come in a variety of colors: black and shiny black tortoise beans, red and white Appaloosa beans, early conjunctival glass bean. Carry, with his two-faced appearance, is not locked. Cranberry beans with purple birthmarks, ivory white sea mushroom beans, tiger eye beans that have been heated by the Uzumaki clan, because green beans contain saponins and phytohemagglutinins. Eating green beans directly can cause dizziness, symptoms such as headache and nausea. Boil green beans in boiling water for 10 minutes. Only then can the toxicity be inactivated. Hair race, a very interesting point I want to mention. Those are the beans and the pig from the front. They're all saving the mainland. The fourth quarter, however, is the season for plants from the New World of the Americas. After all, the capital of the Americas can't just be a guide. Is tomato, potato, pepper, ciclidos the right one? Actually, there is another common cardamom plant. You would never guess. Its place of origin is also Miso. He and Chinese roadside stalls. Home-style dishes and drinks go so well together. That's peanuts. Peanuts have been in China for over 400 years. It has long been a Chinese plant. Peanuts are a type of very, very, very unusual plants. The peanuts we eat actually come from underground, although potatoes, sweet potatoes, and yams are also underground. But what about what we eat? Are they their roots or underground pathways? It originally grew underground. Where are the peanuts we eat? It's a proper seed. But peanut flowers grow on the ground. So, what happens to peanuts after they've been startled while flowering? It will turn fat and fat cake into a cone. After it burrows into the ground, it will swell and turn into a peanut. Each rider has between 1 and 34 grains. If it didn't sink into the ground, fat will not develop into fruit. What if the ground is too hard? It would be quite difficult for the peanut to pierce through. Therefore, peanuts are best suited for planting in sandy soil. They painstakingly buried the fruit so deep. This shows that peanuts are a good thing. Fresh peanuts were dug out of the ground, can be eaten directly, even if you just boil a peanut in salt water. It tastes really good. Shelled peanuts, whether boiled or fried. Adding a little salt makes them great snacks to accompany drinks. Of course, I also have a homemade side dish. Peanuts with pickled vegetables and tofu. Have some carp slices with braised shrimp oil on the side. Then use the bowl of cured pork noodles. The top looks like Dajiang Silang's tofu. Put it in the free hot pot and send it to Yunchang. Yes, they certainly eat better than the emperor. Dried peanuts and mushrooms can eventually be made into peanut butter. Everyone can. It's possible that Chinese people don't eat peanut butter much. Actually, many of the sesame pastes we eat. Take a look at the ingredient list. Most of the ingredients are peanut butter. Can be mixed with sesame seeds. This shows that peanuts are also a good oilseed crop. Most of them have a fat content of only 20. Only 30 of the rapeseed used in the artwork was used for oil extraction. Most sesame seeds contain up to 40 of something. Peanuts have a surprisingly high fat content of up to 50. Extremely greasy. What happens to the peanuts left after pressing the oil? It is also a good feed. Even peanut shells can be recycled, making edible fungus cultivation machine. It can even be made into soy sauce. Actually, there is another type of plant. The main parts used are also from underground. That's Jägermeister. Not the big head one from Rainbow Six Siege. It is actually a masquerade vine. Their parents are so withered. However, the underground roots are very majestic and powerful. In the skill, medicinal herbs are also like sweet potatoes, rich in starch. It is called kudzu root. Besides being able to be made into vermicelli, it can also be made into herbal tea, sweet soup, and other drinks. Even the beetles with clean shells that grow in the wild grubs. Their larvae are also very plump and juicy. You can eat it after removing the head. It has a higher protein content than beef. Whenever the word protein is mentioned, I still think of the soybeans from the beginning. Millet and trees have been moved to coarse grains. Rice accounts for only a small portion of large-scale rice cultivation in Asia. Soybeans, a rising star. China's grains have the strongest influence on the world. Poor people in ancient times suffered greatly, being able to eat one's fill and other desires. But the human body cannot live without protein. Soybeans are a plant that is even shorter than wheat, but it generously grew a physical body. Lowest cost. To meet the protein needs of the poor. Soybean paste. Ferong soy sauce makes your meal more enjoyable even if you only eat staple foods. Soy milk and roasted soybeans. It can be a substitute for milk and coffee. Various deprocessed products and high-speed hydraulic pressure. From the perspective of taste, the above uses falsehood to judge truth. Fiber derived from soybean protein. It has a silk-like luster and texture. The Les Han giant Buddha statue has to be made from soybeans. Speaking of this is only a small part of the strength of legumes. Extremely diverse. Legumes can become a favorite feed for cattle and horses. Amazing foam cleaner. Natural pigments from all over the world. Plastics with significant industrial and pharmaceutical value. Even various types with extremely high hardness and density. True wood that can bear the weight of 1,000 years of history. The bean husks also account for half of the production. Video production is not easy. Please like this post.
See you next time. Sai Lian.